Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is the 12th of June 2021 and this is the Flight Sim News. So first up is the weekend news from the guys at Eagle Dynamics. They go on to say, in April of this year we conducted preliminary computational fluid dynamics research of the R-27 family of missile aerodynamics. The objection was the correction of the zero lift drag and missile ballistics refinement. As a result of this research, the zero lift drag coefficient was reduced for all R-27 missile types. Please read our R-27 missile family report. Thank you for your trust, passion, and support. You make our dreams come true, blah, blah, blah. And then if you click the link, it'll take you to their report. I guess what this means is any of the R-27 missiles within DCS have been corrected. Next up, the biggest news of this week is that the guys at Eagle Dynamics have done really two things this week, and this one really does surprise me, that they've actually made 2.7 and converted it for stable. So not only is open beta still 2.7, but the stable version is also running 2.7 now. I don't know which iteration of 2.7 that is. I would imagine it's not as up to date as the open beta because it never will be. But there's always that one point in time where they do step it up to match one of the last open beta versions. And if you have the stable version now and you want to take advantage of the clouds and some of the other awesome fixes and improvements and things that can be found within 2.7, you're in luck. I'm still running the open beta. I just prefer to be on the open beta so I can get all the latest fixes and improvements. One thing I noticed is one person was complaining that there was a bug, I think, in the Su-25 and the MiG-21 where there was like a cockpit graphical issue that exists still in the open beta that they brought over to stable by making stable 2.7 as well. So there's always going to be a few of those kind of things happening, but at the end of the day, the guys who run stable and don't want to do the open beta are in luck at this point because they have more of the fixes and improvements that we've all been enjoying now for, what, a month or so. In addition to that, they go on to say, today we're also introducing a new free-to-play system that lets you evaluate all of our modules, aircraft, and maps for 14 days. You can play each module sequentially for 14 days or any number of them at a time. Once you've consumed the 14 days, you will be given another 14-day free trial period for all modules 6 months later. Enjoy the offer and please tell your friends. And then they go on to say, fly the Hornet for 2 weeks and then the Viper for another 2. You could download new terrains at the same time, whatever you fancy. Each module will give you 14 days to evaluate and enjoy them without any limitations or obligations. If you try a module and aren't 100% certain about purchasing, you can reevaluate it 6 months later. And then they go on to say at the bottom here, it says, and for all newcomers to DCS, you can benefit from a 50% joining discount on your first purchase, whether you buy one module or the whole library. Spread the news. That I'm not sure if that means if you've not ever played DCS before and you're just opening a DCS account, then you'll get a 50% discount, or if everybody will get a one-time 50% discount. I'm kind of betting that it probably is for new people more than it is for old, but nonetheless, that is a generous offer and definitely worth taking advantage of. And just so you could see how this works, I'm logged into my account and it's going to be under trial licenses once you log in, under home, personal section, licensing, and then trial licenses. And as you go down the list, you'll see it'll have a button for try if you don't own it. Then it says the Syria map, you have a license for this. The channel, you have a license for this, because it'll show that you have a license for everything that you own. And then I can jump in there now for 2 weeks and try the JF-17, or I can fly the FW-190A8, the Anton, or the I-16, etc., etc., etc. Definitely something to take advantage of. And in other weekend news from the guys at Eagle Dynamics, they go on to say the Supercarrier has received a number of notable updates to the deck crew that includes improved meshes and geometry tweaks. Plane Director Shooter model has been edited to include skinning and geometry corrections, improved mesh and skinning for the hands and gloves. Completely new anatomy, correct skeleton for the hands. A sailor head model has been replaced with a much more realistic one. Air Boss model has been improved with improved hands and removed beer belly. Missing levels of details have been added for all models. All seated and standing poses have been corrected and improved. Fixed excessive bending animation of legs while walking, fixed sliding legs, fixed intersection of arms and legs. Several new idle animations have been added for a more natural look. Mesh and skinning have been adjusted at the elbow area to reduce the effect of no mass. All models have been converted to a new version of the skeleton that will prove more natural improvements. So basically it's just a visual fluff improvement to all of the, people models, I guess, is what it sounds like on the Supercarrier. And then lastly, they go on to talk about, in the next open beta, you'll receive the GBU-31, GBU-38J dam for the Viper. We are now working on fixing outstanding bugs related to the air-to-air radar and navigation systems. Enhancements are also being made to the flight model in regards to available G and angle of attack modeling. Once we have addressed the critical issues, we'll focus on the Viper efforts on completing important air-to-air radar functions, DTT SAM mode, bullseye, intercept steering cue, ECM slew, and more. The helmet-mounted cueing system with harm targeting system, Link 16 air-to-ground mode, and IFF will also be integrated. The AGM-154J SAO and ALQ-131 and ALQ-184 electronic countermeasure pods are also next in line to be added. All right. Next up is the latest developer diary. This is developer diary 283 from the guys at 1C Game Studios, makers of IL2 Stormovik Great Battles series. Hello everyone. This weekend we're showing a dev diary a little early because we have some vacation and COVID-related holiday time that interferes with our normal routine. So before we take a little time off, here are some quick shots of the German SDKFZ 10/5 Flak 38 and actual game engine. As you can see, the textures are not anywhere near ready, but it's starting to become functional, including some of the damage modeling gun sights. Once again, our partners at Digital Forms have done a terrific job on the model. In the images below, you can see how the machine gun from a Soviet armored car shot up my engine and ended my mission. The sights in the German gun are quite different from the Soviet 72K, and maybe it's a little more user-friendly. You'll have to be the judge when you try it, but it sure is fun trying to knock down planes with either gun. Again, textures are not done. This is just an early beta example, and we wanted to show you the progress that is being made. The SDKFZ 10-5 Flak 38 will be ready for action later this summer. In World War II aircraft news, the P-51BC is scheduled to be the next aircraft released as we work on other things like the V-1 buzz bomb. The P-51BC will be released late summer. The exact date is unknown at this point, but we've updated pics for you just as soon as we can. In World War I aircraft news, Ugra Media is hard at work on several Flying Circus 2 planes and the map, but the closest to release is the PFALZD XII. What is that, 12? She'll be ready for our next update. Recently, when I collected USAF squadron emblems for Battle of Normandy, created once again by our friend Isaac Solidcrete Shavira, I was inspired to make another poster, this time for the P-47D-22, with all of the USAAF 9th Air Force squadrons that will be part of the Battle of Normandy career. There are quite a few that flew the Razorback during that period. And finally, a shot that you've been waiting a long time to see, a BF-109 with something new underslung its belly. Functional drop tanks are being worked on for several planes, but it will take some time to retrofit the aircraft that need them. And then they go on to show us a variety of pretty cool new screenshots. There's the new Flying Circus 2 plane that's being in the works. Pretty insanely awesome cockpit. like they do for all their planes. On the ground, in the air again. That one looks pretty sharp. And then you got some drop tanks going on. And that must be the gun they were talking about. You know, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty insanely integrated battlefield before long here. Especially with the ability to jump in these ground vehicles. I haven't even done that yet. Nice fiery explosion. Pretty cool gun sight. And then the squadrons. Really, really good stuff from these guys. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, so you can check it out for yourself. Next up, here's something that sounds pretty cool. And I got a nice little tip on this from a good friend of the channel, Brian Porter, aka Casmo TV. This guy that posted this goes on to say, "This is it. Open beta is now live. 2 servers are up and running for you test pilots. The main arena with relaxed settings and, of course, a realistic arena. The goal of WB Clash of Eagles is to conquer your enemy's airfields. The goal of the enemy is exactly the same, to capture yours. The side that eventually defeats the enemy by conquering all of its fields wins the war, but there's more. Check clashofeagles.net for all intel, and don't forget to download the airfield maps. If you want to capture airfields, you can't take off without them. Good luck, blue skies." And then they go on to say, WB Clash of Eagles and IL2 is inspired by all prop flight sims. Idea, built, and tested by pilots of the first ROF Netherlands. Special thanks to Loose Deuce, Squadron, and all closed beta testers. He who fears being conquered is sure of defeat. And the WB stands for Warbirds. So this is kind of a throwback game mode, I guess, they've created by putting the server together and doing it the way they did, to be kind of a throwback to the old Air Warrior and Warbirds from like the late 90s and early 2000s. So it sounds pretty exciting. I might have to jump in there and give that a shot, especially on the relaxed arena, because that's more my style. But thanks again to Brian, Casmo TV over there, for giving me the tip on this. And check it out, guys. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, so you guys can check it out for yourself. All right, next up is these guys at Red Star Simulations. Now, they just put an update out, I want to say a few weeks ago, because I just covered these guys in the Flight Sim News, but they're at it again, and it looks like 3 hours ago they've posted yet another development update. They go on to say, "Welcome to our development update. Everything you see is subject to change. We're making progress in the cockpit. There's a lot of research involved since there isn't a standardized cockpit layout for the MiG-17. The MiG-17 F and AS will have individual cockpits to account for the differences between the two versions. We're working hard on modeling and texturing the different weapons that will come with the MiG-17. Check out these beautiful pictures of the Fab 50 bomb, which will come in different colors depending on the aircraft skin you choose, as well as the 76mm SAKR and S-21 unguided rockets." Then they talk a little bit about these rockets, and then at the bottom here they go on to say, "Work continues on the EFM and several other areas. We are working flat out to give DCS community the most realistic depiction of the MiG-17 possible." And then we have some images here, which are basically just the, these are the renders as they put together the cockpit. But it looks like these guys are going for some pretty cool detail. And then we have the bomb, different colors of the bomb. And we got some rockets on some pretty cool looking rails there. Really neat stuff. And it's nice to see the development process and these guys keeping the community updated like they have so far. So I will throw a link to this in the video description as usual, so you can check it out for yourself. This is just something I saw on one of the DCS Facebook groups I belong to. This guy had posted it, and he has nothing to do with it. He just goes on to say, early work on a project far from completion. There is an F-111 mod coming up for DCS, and it's being done by, a private group of guys. But nice looking image, and looks like this could be a lot of fun. But there's so many, like, player-driven mods anymore. It's hard to tell where this is going to go, or how functional it would be, but kudos to these guys for giving it a try. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. And last up is something I don't usually cover very much, and it's a new plane by Just Flight that came out for P3D, and it says it's for P3D version 5 and P3D version 4, and it's a Tornado F3. And the only reason I'm even mentioning it is because I know we all love the Tornado. It's kind of that iconic plane. It was a fantastic simulation back in the day by Spectrum Holobyte that came out around the time of Falcon 3.0. And as I remember back then, it was supposed to be this integrated battlefield where you could put the Falcon in with the Tornado, etc. And then there was plans for other titles back then as well, but it just didn't quite happen. We weren't there yet, but the Tornado F3 is available from the guys at Just Flight. They have a bunch of really cool images going on there for it too. So go ahead and check that out. I'll throw a link to this in the video description so you can. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Definitely hit that like button. Help me out, guys, with the YouTube algorithm. I can't stress enough how important it is to, just give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you don't like it, tell me, give it a thumbs down, because that kind of stuff really helps out with the algorithm and how YouTube places the videos. At least that's my understanding of it. I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard everywhere. So do me a favor and just make sure to hit that like button, and definitely subscribe. So that's it for this week. Until next time.